Growing up, I learned early that some things just weren't meant for me. Birthdays, for example. I'm 28 now, and I can't remember a single one that felt special. No cakes, no candles, no Make-A-Wish. My parents, Janet and Tom, had a way of making my birthday feel like an afterthought, something to brush aside with a quick, "Oh, that was last week, wasn't it?" before moving on to what really mattered to them, and what mattered. Their anniversary. Every year, their anniversary was treated like a royal event. Expensive dinners, coordinated outfits, long speeches about love and commitment. My birthday, just a month before in June, was always eclipsed by the looming celebration of their love story. If I dared to bring it up, they'd just wave it off with excuses. "We're not big on birthdays," or "You're too old for that now." But they weren't too old for a full-blown celebration of their own milestone every single year. I used to convince myself it didn't bother me. I let it slide when I was little. I let it slide when I turned 10 and got a rushed happy birthday before they ran off to finalize their anniversary plans. I even let it slide at sight at 16 when they promised a surprise, and then left me waiting all day while they went out to renew their vows. But this year, something snapped. Their 30th anniversary was coming up in July, and I knew it was going to be a spectacle. I overheard my mom telling her sister about the grand plans they had: a weekend getaway, a fancy dinner, maybe even a vow renewal again. So when I casually asked my mom if they'd be doing anything for my 29th birthday, she laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, honey, you know we'll be too busy prepping for the big 30th. That's when I decided. If they weren't going to celebrate me, I was going to make them. It started with an idea, a small one at first, something petty, something selfish, maybe, but something I felt I deserved. I was going to hijack their anniversary. I booked a venue for July 15th, their anniversary, pitching it as a surprise gathering that would kick off the weekend for them. I made sure to mention that it was just a small get-together before their real celebration so they wouldn't ask too many questions. A surprise gathering, I called it, just to throw them off. They were thrilled. My dad actually thanked me for thinking of them. I sent out invitations to their closest friends and extended family. Elegant, formal, with a hint of mystery. Join us for a very special celebration. I kept the wording vague, making sure no one suspected it wasn't just for them. Then I started planning. I imagined the night in vivid detail. A slideshow of my life, not theirs. A cake with my name on it. Speeches, but this time about me. The daughter they had forgotten to celebrate for nearly 3 decades. I dipped into my savings, money I had built up from freelancing as a graphic designer, to fund it. Anju, catering, decorations. I wasn't going to half-ass this. If they could spend years making their anniversary feel like the most important day of the year, I could steal it for one night. I brought in my best friend, Lila, to help. She was the only one who knew the full truth. She didn't judge me for it. In fact, she was the first to say, "Honestly, you deserve this." Still, a part of me felt guilty. Was I being cruel? Was this going too far? But every time that guilt crept in, I thought back to all those birthdays I spent waiting for them to remember. All the times I watched them gush about their love while I faded into the background. They had no idea what was coming. My dad called me the other day, giddy about the pre-party. He said it was sweet of me to think of them like this. My mom was already picking out an outfit. They were completely oblivious to the fact that this time, their anniversary wouldn't belong to them. This time, it was going to be mine. The weeks leading up to July 15th are chaotic. Every day is a balancing act, handling freelance deadlines, answering venue calls, managing RSVPs, and making sure my parents remain completely unaware. Their 30th anniversary is the only thing they can talk about, and I let them. They have no idea that their celebration is about to be rewritten. The banquet hall confirms my booking. It's a sleek, modern space with a polished wooden floor, golden lighting, and a raised stage that will make my entrance impossible to ignore. The event coordinator goes over the details with me: seating, music, the timing of speeches. It's all set. Then the caterer backs out. Apparently, they double-booked and decided to prioritize a wedding over my event. I have 2 days to find a replacement who can handle 50 guests without completely gutting my budget. After several frantic calls, I lock in a backup caterer who agrees to take the job. The only catch? A last-minute price hike. I haggle my way down to something manageable, though it still stings to spend extra. At night, I work on the slideshow. It's not the usual romantic montage of my parents' love story that they probably expect. Instead, it's a reel of my life, my childhood, school achievements, college graduation, solo trips, random moments that no one ever really acknowledged. The realization of how much they missed hits harder the longer I work on it, but I push through. I splurge on a crimson gown. Not the soft, muted colors my mother always insisted were classy for family events. This one is striking, bold, impossible to ignore. The moment I see it in the mirror, I know it's the right choice. Lila, helping me zip it up, shakes her head and warns me again. They're going to flip. I wave her off. The plan is already set in motion. My mom calls and asks for my opinion on their anniversary guest list. She's still under the impression that I'm organizing a surprise pre-party for them. She even jokes about how thoughtful I am. I use the opportunity to casually ask what they expect for the night, just to be sure I know exactly how blindsided they'll be. My dad is even more clueless. I hear him on the phone with his golf buddies, bragging about the special celebration that I planned for them. He goes on about how it's rare for a daughter to be so devoted to her parents' love story. I have to bite my lip to keep from laughing. The cake order goes through without a hitch. It's a 3-tier masterpiece with white and gold frosting, elegant but not overly extravagant. The words "Happy 29th" to me are written across the top in delicate gold script. It's a direct contradiction to everything they expect. I draft my speech and rehearse it over and over again. It's not aggressive, not cruel, just firm, clear, and impossible to ignore. I plan every word carefully, making sure it captures exactly what this night is meant to be. Their friends start posting about the mystery event online. Some of them think I'm planning a surprise vow renewal. Others assume it's an anniversary party with some sort of extra sentimental twist. The buzz builds, and I let it, knowing that the reveal will be even bigger because of it. Then the neighbor nearly ruins everything. She spots the caterer's van in our driveway and starts asking my mom about it. I hear them talking from my room, my heart hammering as I listen for any sign that the lie is unraveling. My mom sounds confused at first, but when I step in and tell her it's for a work-related event, she buys it without question. I start second-guessing myself. What if this backfires? What if I come out of this looking like the bad guy? Lila notices my hesitation but doesn't say anything. Instead, she pulls up the slideshow, clicks through the images one by one, and just waits. It only takes a few minutes of watching my own forgotten milestones before the doubt disappears. As the final touch, I hire a photographer, not just to document the night, but to capture their exact expressions the moment they realize this isn't their celebration. The thought of that moment keeps me going. Everything is in place. The guests are ready, the venue is locked, the speeches are prepped. My parents have no idea what's about to happen. July 15th is just around the corner. It's July 14th, the night before everything changes. My parents are buzzing with excitement, thinking tomorrow is just the beginning of their big 30th anniversary celebration. Meanwhile, I'm pacing my apartment, double-checking every last detail. The venue is secured, the guest list is locked in, and my gown, my battle armor, is hanging in my closet, waiting for its moment. I head to the banquet hall for a final check. The space is exactly as I envisioned, golden chandeliers casting a soft glow, tables set with crisp white linens, and the stage standing front and center, waiting for me. The sound system is my biggest concern. I test the microphone, play my slideshow on the projector, and adjust the lighting. Everything works. For now. The baker arrives at my apartment with the cake. It's bigger than I expected, 3 tiers of perfection with Happy 29th to me written in gold. I push aside leftovers in my fridge to make room for it, my hands slightly unsteady as I slide the box in. Back at my parents' house, my mom casually mentions they've booked a fancy dinner for tomorrow night. She assumes my event is just a little pre-anniversary gathering, a warm-up before their real celebration. I keep my face neutral, but inside, I know the stakes just got higher. My dad stops by my apartment with a bottle of wine, a gift for tomorrow. He's so oblivious that I almost laugh. He hands it over, pats me on the shoulder, and tells me how much he appreciates all the effort I'm putting in. Lila arrives a little later, carrying snacks and her phone charger, ready to camp out for the night. She knows me well enough to sense I won't be sleeping. She pumps me up, promising she'll be recording everything from the moment my parents step into the venue. Then the first real problem hits. I try on my dress one last time, and as I zip it up, I hear the unmistakable sound of fabric tearing. A seam near my waist has given out. I scramble for a needle and thread, stitching it back together as fast as I can, my hands shaking with frustration. It holds, but now I don't trust the dress completely. The venue calls with another issue. The projector, the one I tested earlier, is flickering. They don't know if it will hold up through the slideshow. I spend an hour troubleshooting over the phone before deciding I'll bring my laptop as a backup. Then the weather report changes. It was supposed to be clear skies, but now there's a 70% chance of rain, and my outdoor cocktail hour is suddenly in danger. I call around frantically, trying to rent a tent at the last minute. One company agrees but warns they might not be able to deliver until tomorrow morning. By midnight, I'm exhausted but wide awake, my mind racing through every possible scenario. I keep going over my speech, imagining the moment my parents realize what's happening. The tent rental company calls again. There's been a delay. The tent won't arrive until an hour before the event starts, throwing my timeline into chaos. There's nothing I can do but adjust. I dig through an old box in my closet and find a diary from when I was 12. I flip through the pages until I land on an entry from my birthday that year. It's short. Just a few lines about sitting alone in my room with a cupcake, waiting for my parents to remember. They never did. I close the diary and set it aside. No backing out now. The photographer meets me in a late-night coffee shop for a final briefing. I tell him exactly what I want. Focus on me, my moments, my reactions. If my parents look confused, shocked, upset, that's just part of the story. I stand in front of my mirror before heading to bed, looking at my reflection. Tomorrow, everything shifts. I take a deep breath, tighten my fists, and make a silent promise to myself, I won't back down, no matter what happens. July 15th arrives fast, and the moment I step into the banquet hall, it feels electric. The space is alive with chatter, the scent of catered dishes in the air, and the soft hum of background music setting the mood. Guests are dressed in their best, clutching glasses of wine, laughing, and catching up. Everyone is here for what they think is my parents' grand 30th anniversary celebration. The guest list has swelled to 55 people, relatives, family friends, some of my parents' longtime acquaintances. They mill around, making small talk, discussing how sweet it is that I went all out for my parents. I catch snippets of conversations, people speculating whether I have a big speech planned for them. The irony almost makes me laugh. Then my parents arrive. My dad walks in first, wearing a sleek black tuxedo, a broad grin on his face like he owns the place. My mom is right behind him, glowing in a silver evening gown, holding his arm as they wave at people like royalty. They scan the room, clearly expecting a lavish tribute to their 3 decades of marriage. They have no idea what's coming. I stand near the stage, my crimson gown catching the light. The moment my parents notice me, my mom gives an approving nod, probably assuming I dressed up just for them. I step up, gripping the microphone, and the murmur of conversations dies down. The room waits. I smile, letting the moment stretch just enough to make the anticipation thick. Then I start. Tonight's about celebrating what matters. My parents beam, thinking this is their moment. I let them hold on to that thought a second longer before the screen behind me lights up. The slideshow begins. Instead of anniversary photos, wedding memories, or anything remotely related to them, the first image is of me, a baby picture, then another of me as a toddler clutching a drawing. A beat of silence passes through the room before the images continue. My first art award. My high school graduation. Solo trips I took as an adult. Frame after frame, moment after moment, all highlighting the milestones of my life they never celebrated. The shift in the room is instant. Guests exchange looks, some confused, others leaning in, realizing this isn't what they expected. I glance at my parents. My dad's smile has frozen in place, eyebrows drawn together. My mom's lips part slightly, her hand tightening around her clutch. The slideshow keeps rolling, and the murmurs grow louder. Then, the cake is brought out. A waiter wheels in the 3-tier cake, the words Happy 29th to me shining in gold script across the top. A collective gasp ripples through the room. My mom's face pales as she stares at it. My dad's entire posture stiffens. I take a steady breath and drop the final blow. For years, my birthdays were ignored. Tonight, I'm taking the spotlight. For a beat, silence. Then, scattered claps. Some guests, mostly my friends and younger relatives, begin clapping. A few people murmur to each other, trying to piece together what's happening. Others shoot nervous glances at my parents, unsure of how to react. Then my dad pushes back his chair and stands. His face is red, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. This is our anniversary. The words boom through the hall, cutting through the applause. People shift awkwardly in their seats. My mom covers her mouth with one hand, whispering something to the woman next to her. The divide in the room becomes clear. Some guests, especially the ones who know my history with my parents, nod in approval. A few even call out words of encouragement. Others, mainly my parents' friends, look on with disapproval, shaking their heads. Lila moves through the crowd, completely unbothered by the tension, handing out small gift bags. Inside are custom keychains, each engraved with my initials and the number 29. Another subtle reminder that this night is mine. The photographer captures everything. The shock on my dad's face, my mom dabbing her eyes with a tissue, the guests caught somewhere between awe and awkwardness. Then my dad grips my mom's arm and starts guiding her toward the exit. They're leaving. I watch them move, my dad muttering under his breath, my mom glancing back at me once, her expression unreadable. A few family friends step in, coaxing them back to their seats, telling them to at least hear me out. For a moment, I think they're going to leave anyway. But then slowly, my mom exhales, straightens her shoulders, and sits back down. My dad follows, jaw tight. The night isn't over yet. The party is over, but the fallout is just beginning. By the morning of July 16th, my phone is already buzzing nonstop. Missed calls from unknown numbers, texts relayed through mutual contacts, even an email from my mom. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that my parents didn't just stew in their anger overnight. They're making sure I hear about it. A message from one of my dad's golf buddies pops up first. Call your folks, they're a mess. A voicemail follows right after. My dad's voice is sharp, every word laced with anger. You humiliated us in front of everyone. Explain yourself. Then, the email from my mom. It's a long-winded plea, written with her usual dramatics. She doesn't yell like my dad, but the guilt trip is clear. You ruined our milestone. I don't know how we're supposed to face people after this. Fix this. I don't reply. Instead, I check in with the venue to make sure nothing was trashed in the chaos. The event coordinator tells me the damage was minor, but my deposit, partially deducted due to excessive cleaning fees. Apparently, my dad's friends weren't thrilled about the twist and made sure their drinks accidentally spilled on more than a few table linens. I chalk it up as the price of my moment. I pull a leftover slice of my birthday cake from the fridge and eat it straight from the box. It's a small victory, but it still tastes sweet. Then, the first real consequence hits. A client emails me, canceling a project. It's worded politely, but a quick search through my inbox reveals the connection. She's one of my mom's book club friends. I don't need a full explanation to know this isn't a coincidence. A knock at my door interrupts my thoughts. It's my neighbor, the one who always seems to know too much about everyone on the block. She tilts her head, smiling too sweetly, before casually bringing up the party. So interesting night, huh? I keep my responses vague, and she eventually gives up, but it's clear word is spreading. Lila stops by in the afternoon, phone in hand. She wasted no time going through last night's footage. She holds up a blurry but golden shot of my dad mid-outburst, veins popping, hands clenched into fists. This, she says, belongs in a museum. As we scroll, my uncle's name flashes across my screen, a rare text from him. Maybe let the dust settle. They won't get over it quick, but give it time. It's the closest thing to a neutral take from their side. I don't respond, but I don't delete it either. By the evening, I mute the family group chat. The messages keep rolling in, some scolding, some demanding explanations, some pretending last night didn't happen at all. I'm not apologizing, not for finally being seen. Then, another voicemail from my mom. Short, cold, come pick up the rest of your things. A quiet message, but loud enough. I start drafting a response. Not to her, not to my dad, but to make sure my side of the story is clear to those who were there. Because this fight, it's not over yet. It's July 18th, and the silence from my parents is deafening. Not a single text, no missed calls, nothing. After the flood of messages and guilt tripping, the sudden quiet feels unnatural, like the eye of a storm. But I know better. This isn't over. By midday, my phone lights up with a voicemail from my dad. His voice is curt, controlled, but edged with something deeper, resentment. He doesn't yell this time. Instead, his words are clipped. We need to talk. Just that. No apology, no anger, just a demand. Then the mail arrives. Among the usual stack of bills and ads, there's a thick envelope. My mom's handwriting stretches across the front, my name written with deliberate care. Inside, I find a stack of birthday cards, some new, some from past years. It feels staged, like my mom rummaged through drawers to put together a retroactive display of care. Some are generic store-bought greetings, others have short, rushed messages scrawled inside. Sorry we forgot. We meant to do something. Things got busy. Next year we'll make it special. They never did. It's not an olive branch. It's a mind game. A way to make me feel guilty. To make me believe they tried but just forgot. Lila calls, her voice low with urgency. She just saw my mom at a coffee shop, sitting across from one of my aunts. No tears, no heartbreak, just quiet manipulation. My mom leans in, voice soft but firm, pushing my aunt to talk some sense into me. She isn't reaching out, she's recruiting. Then, a message from work. A coworker asks if I'm okay, casually mentioning that a client, one of my mother's acquaintances, brought up my little stunt. The story is spreading, but not in my favor. Dad's golf buddy posts a picture online later that night. It's of my parents at a fancy restaurant, toasting with wine glasses. The caption reads, "Love endures." Subtle. I scroll through old texts, searching for something. Proof. I find them, years of broken promises in black and white. My mom, again and again, saying, "We'll do something for your birthday this year." The next message, always the same, "Sorry, things got crazy." Lila reads over my shoulder, shaking her head. They can't rewrite history, not with this. Then, a call from an old childhood friend. Her voice is warm, but hesitant. "Do you remember how I used to bring you cupcakes? Because I knew your parents wouldn't." I remember. She doesn't pick a side, doesn't tell me what to do, but her voice alone is enough. Later that night, I get a text from an unexpected number. My high school art teacher. "Heard what you did. You deserved that night." Then, another voicemail from my dad. This time, his tone is dismissive. "We're busy this weekend. We'll talk later." A classic deflection. They aren't ready to face me yet, but they will. And when they do, I'll be ready. I pace my living room, running through every word, every comeback. This isn't over. It's July 20th, and the unopened birthday cards are still sitting on my kitchen counter. I've read through them once, but I haven't decided what to do with them yet. They're not keepsakes. They're not apologies. They're just proof that my parents had all the chances in the world to remember me and never did. I stare at them for a long time, debating whether to trash them or shove them in a drawer to forget. Instead, I grab my keys. The Cold War needs to end, one way or another. I drive straight to my parents' house, no warning, no texts. If they want to dodge me, they'll have to do it to my face. The moment I pull into the driveway, I know they're home. My dad is outside trimming the hedges, his movements sharp and deliberate. My mom is watering the plants on the porch, the hose running over the soil as if she's lost in thought. Neither of them look at me, but they know I'm here. I step out of the car and walk straight up the path. The air between us is thick. My dad keeps his back turned, focusing on the hedge like I'm not standing there. My mom's lips press into a thin line, but she doesn't move. We need to talk. For a second, nothing. Then my mom exhales and turns off the hose. My dad doesn't respond, but I push forward. They can't avoid this forever. Inside, the house is exactly the same as always. Neat, comfortable, familiar. But the energy is different. There's no warmth, no easy conversation. We sit in the living room, and I don't wait for them to start. July 15th was me taking back years of being ignored, I say. I'm not apologizing for it. My dad's jaw tightens. His voice is sharp when he finally speaks. "You embarrassed us in front of everyone." My mom doesn't jump to agree with him. Instead, she sighs, setting her hands in her lap. Her voice is quieter. "We didn't think it mattered that much to you," my mom finally says, though her voice lacks full remorse. "We were busy with everything else." It's not an apology, but at least it's an acknowledgement. For the first time, my dad's anger cracks. He leans forward, rubbing a hand over his face. His tone is lower now, not quite soft, but no longer sharp. "We got caught up," he mutters. "We never meant to push you aside." It's not a full apology, and it's not an instant fix, but it's honest. "I'm done begging for attention," I say. "I'll celebrate myself from now on." Now on, the line is drawn. They can meet me halfway, or they can keep looking the other way. But I won't be standing in the shadows anymore. There's no dramatic hug, no perfect resolution. But later that night, my mom texts me. "Trip's off. Can we call tonight?" It's a reluctant offer, a hesitant step towards something different. I don't make them wait. Sure, pick a day. A few minutes later, a date comes through. It's small, but it's something. Back home, Lila walks in with takeout, grinning. "You rewrote the rules," she says, raising her drink in an invisible toast. "Proud of you." Later, I call my hesitant client, explaining the situation in calm, professional terms. She listens, pauses, then tells me she'll keep the contract alive. Another small win. Before bed, I frame a photo from that night, the moment I stood on stage in my crimson gown, the crowd watching. Not for spite, not for revenge, just for me. I'm no longer their footnote. I took their day, made it mine, and that's enough.